Welcome back. We're joined now by Nik Nanos. He's the president of Nanos Research, a pollster and an expert on image research and crisis communications management. How appropriate is that, Nik?
Yeah, I think it is a crisis time.
He joins us now from Ottawa. First, in broad strokes, what do you make of what's been going on these last few days?
Well, what we see is a colossal and gigantic game of chicken between the Liberals and the Conservatives. What we see is the Prime Minister trying to hang on to his government, and the Liberals trying right now to keep the coalition going so they can try to defeat the Harper Conservatives. But you can tell there's a lot of acrimony out there. There's a lot of negativism, and it's very personal right now. If the last Parliament was dysfunctional, man, oh man, this next one is going to be even worse than dysfunctional.
Well, let me ask you about taking a break of, what does it work out to, 5 or 6 weeks? Does the decision by the Governor General make the situation less volatile? Will people's heads cool off over the next 6 weeks? What's going to happen?
I don't think so. I think what it does allow for is what I'll say the Stephen Harper Conservative winter counteroffensive. You know, you can bet your bottom dollar that the Conservatives are going to be taking their war chest and using it during the Christmas season in order to get ahead of this story and prepare for January budget. So I would expect guns blazing from the Conservatives against the Liberals, and they're probably, you know, the Liberals don't have a lot of money, so they're probably going to be more spectators in the next 4 to 5 weeks than actors.
So the message, the guns blazing, using all their money over the Christmas period by the Tories, that would be selling the message we've been hearing from Stephen Harper all this week, that this coalition, the linchpin is the Bloc, and they're the separatists, and this is an unholy alliance. Is that the message Canadians are going to...
I would expect that'll probably be the main message. However, you know, I don't speak to the Prime Minister or his handlers. I would expect that they need another track in regards to trying to rebuild the Prime Minister's image, because it has taken a hit because of what has happened, because it has been seen, the economic statement was seen as a miscalculation that the Prime Minister brought upon himself. So I would expect the Conservatives, if they were smart, to also have a positive track, maybe put that sweater back on the Prime Minister and a little eggnog maybe.
Yeah, they did the sweater work, Nik. Honestly, the sweater looks so out of place on Stephen Harper. People just kind of shook their heads at that.
Yeah, but I guess the alternative is to kind of reinforce the image of what I'll say I'm not sure the right word to use, but someone who is more stern. So, you know, the alternative is just to reinforce negative perceptions that are out there. And I don't really think there's anything wrong with putting a sweater. Maybe next time I'm on, I'll put a sweater on.
Well, let me ask you this. This is what I get anecdotally from people who are just casual observers. They don't know a thing more than anybody else about what's going on in Ottawa. But they look at Stephen Harper and they think they are looking at a man who is so partisan, he's not able to rise above that to do what's best for all Canada. Now, how do you change that image?
Well, I'm not sure how he's going to change that image, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to try to change that, because you have to work from the assumption that the Prime Minister wants to hold on to power so he can remain Prime Minister and fight another day and try to win another election. And I think that's why the Conservatives really want, especially Stephen Harper, if they have a chance to fight an election, they're probably going to want to do it against Stéphane Dion before Michael Ignatieff or Bob Rae or LeBlanc become leader of the Liberal Party, so that they can have an advantage. So, you know, when the Prime Minister says he wants an election, I really believe that he does want one, and if it's not now, he's probably going to want one in January or early February before the Grits get their act together.
You know what's kind of an interesting situation? Senator Terry Stratton was on the program earlier today, and he was talking about when he goes home to Manitoba, right now things are booming. The malls are full, people are in a good mood, they're spending money. And it leads one to believe that different parts of this country have been affected sooner than others by this kind of virus of this economic crisis, which has been swinging around the world. Forestry certainly has been whacked. Auto people have been whacked. But in some parts of the country, they haven't been whacked yet. So how do you sell a message to all Canadians when all Canadians don't see the crisis in the same way?
Well, the thing is that even though they aren't necessarily directly affected, they're worried about the overall effect on the economy. And, you know, if I could use an example, we just completed a poll a couple of weeks ago in regards to the economic mood. And what it showed was that, you know, for the last while, Westerners have been quite positive in regards to the future. Now they're just as negative, even though things aren't as bad in the West as they are in the rest of the country. And there's a bit of a psychological impact. We know that shopping is down this holiday season. And, you know, right now, Canadians aren't very optimistic about the economy for 2009. And I'm sure when they're looking at the political shenanigans that are going on right now, they're probably not very optimistic about politics in 2009 in Canada either.
All right. Thank you very much. So nice speaking to you, Nik Nanos.
Thank you.
Right now.